Listen, bro, I love white people, but why in would you gift a, what is he, 10? An 11, 12-year-old boy a rifle? Why? Just why? Give him a fucking Atari or something.
That night, while Kyle's
You got a son? You said I found, oh, okay. You said if I found out my son was being shit to organs, he going, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That's kind of crazy. That is not my son. So that's what I'm saying, bro. I thought he was talking about his son. But look, personally, bro, that's not my son. Especially if he was an alien, bro. Cooked.
surely Tori will realize her son's a monster after being shown this.
That could be anything. How could Brandon have killed Noah?
Bro, what the f are you on?
I don't even give a f, bro. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm bro and I know I'm the breadwinner and all this bitch does is sit at home and watch soap operas and protect her alien son, I'm going to f to the nearest hotel or I'm moving 3 states over. I don't care.
I ain't going out tonight. I'm just gonna be in my room. I just wanna be in my room. I just wanna be in my room.
You know what? Speaking of that, now I low-key want to watch a scary ass video, like some Nexpo type shit, or like some like a horror type vid, or like one of those cop videos. Hell yeah! And I got some shit in there in the playlist for that. So yeah. But right now we're gonna be watching Brightburn is an unhinged movie. If you've never seen Brightburn, this movie is actually pretty good. It's kind of like Superman meets The Conjuring. I don't even know. Whoever was cooking this up had to be mentally unstable, but they really did cook up a good ass movie. Somebody like me, I really like movies like this where the hell, Coven had 2 albums and only one is a cult and Satan is the cover pick. What the hell? You see what I'm saying? But let's hop straight into this, man. I really, like I said, I'm somebody who really likes like indie type horror movies. Like Black Phone, I thought was a good movie. I just watched Together. Together was a good ass movie. Weapons, we gotta watch the trailer for that because I'm gonna see that soon. But I want to upload my reaction to the trailer first, and things of that nature. So we're gonna hop straight into this video. If you like the video, like the video. If you like to subscribe, at issues.team underscore Instagram, issues.the.com, go get y'all some prior pieces, and let's see why Brightburn was an unhinged movie. And I'm going to be honest with you, if you have not seen this movie, it is unhinged as fuck. So let's hop straight into it.
Alright, so last night I watched Brightburn.
All the metal rock mainstream. Ugh.
It's basically a take on what if Superman turned evil as a kid and decided to take over the world. And I found it interesting, so I'm making a video on it. The movie starts off
soon, bruh. Soon, bruh.
With our main characters in bed keeping it PG. This chick, Tori, gets up after hearing a noise. Spooky. The camera then pans to something glowing red that crash landed outside. We get a montage of that baby alien as it grows up, and we cut to 10 years later. Tori is playing hide and seek with her son, Brandon. She can't find him inside, so she goes out to the barn and he jumps out at her and scares the socks off of her. They then head outside and are greeted by the dad, Kyle. And he's like, "What are you guys doing? You know the rules. No going into the barn." I wonder why. He then offers to make waffles, and they're all just a big old, happy, loving family. Surely nothing will go wrong. The next day while Brandon's at school, we see him drawing his symbol, BB, for Brandon Breyer, his name, obviously. But the real thing we need to focus on in this scene is Brandon's teacher.
Lord have mercy.
Hell, god damn.
But the real thing we need to focus on in this scene is Brandon's teacher.
Nigga, I thought this was Sydney Sweeney, boy. And listen, I am not the greatest milkman, but I can be today, boy. I love me some fucking milk.
Teacher.
Lord have mercy.
I'm about to bust.
I wish I had teachers like this growing up, but unfortunately, I had straight cans. Probably for the best, though. If this teacher ever called me up in front of the class to do a speech, it would have been a devastating day. Anyways, the teacher asks a question, no one knows the answer, and so she calls on Brandon. Brandon gives this overly drawn-out answer so that the audience knows he's smart, and he gets made fun of.
Why are you always talking about maggots? Must be one.
It's always niggas
and then
trolling,
this chick turns around and says, and I quote, "Don't worry, smart guys end up ruling the planet." What f***ing normal human being would say that? Later that night, Brandon's catching some Z's and his mom is working on a painting. The camera pans to a hatch in the barn and it's glowing red and making some very strange noises. He starts talking to Brandon and he tweaks out for a minute. He then gets up, opens his window, and jumps out. The mom hears something smack the ground, so she goes outside to check it out. She heads outside, but she finds nothing, but right as she turns around to walk back inside, something flies by. Naturally, she has to go and Scooby-Doo that shit. She
Hell
heads out to the
yeah.
barn, and she finds Brandon spazzing trying to open the hatch while muttering gibberish. She walks up to him and touches his shoulder, which snaps him out of his trance. The next day, Brandon is back to normal though. He and his dad talk for a little bit, father-son stuff, before he puts Brandon to work on the mower. But Brandon has a little trouble getting that bad boy started up. I mean, he's really struggling. But then, he somehow launches it 100 yards away.
Okay, bro.
Feels strange that he struggled to start it, but could launch it into next week, but whatever. He walks over to the mower, and with the voices talking to him again, he puts his hand in the blade, which breaks it while he remains unharmed. So if you're not catching on because it happened...
Now look. Okay, you throw some shit across the fucking world 4 for 4. If you throw some shit across the world, okay, cool. You know you have super strength. I don't know why he wasn't like, what the fuck just happened when he did that. But then you go and you put your hand into the blade. Best case scenario, you don't cut your shit clean off. But why on earth would you do that in the first place? What could you have gained from that?
Happens so quick. Brandon isn't just straight up evil, he's being influenced or controlled by the voices in his head from the spaceship he came to Earth in. So unfortunately, we don't really get to see Brandon being a normal kid, like, at all in this movie. Later on, Brandon celebrates his birthday at a diner with his family, including his Uncle Noah and his Aunt Marilee. Noah gives Brandon a rifle for his B-Day, but his dad is very much against it. But Brandon's not here to play around.
Here we go again. Listen, bro, I love white people. But why in fuck would you gift a, 10? An 11, 12-year-old boy a rifle? Why? Just why? Give him a fucking Atari or something, bro. A football.
I said, give it to me.
You're leaving. Let's go.
Later that night, they talk about how out of character that behavior was for Brandon, but they leave out a slightly important fact that he's an alien from outer space. Maybe that could have something to do with his behavior, but I don't know. The next day, they get packed up and ready for a camping trip. But while that happens, Kyle finds Brandon chewing up his fork like a weirdo, and his mom finds his Jack stash in his room. I can't show up, so they look through it and find regular material like prime Megan Fox, but they also find some pretty weird pictures like internal organs and things like that, which is pretty weird. But again, they treat it as if he's just a little off and fail to realize he's not a human. The next day while hunting, Kyle gives Brandon the birds and the bees talk and tells Brandon that it's okay to act on his urges. Kind of a weird way to put it, but Brandon does just that. He dips out from the campsite that night and rolls up on Caitlin, who he saw earlier at school. He somehow manages to open her laptop without making a noise, and when she closes it, he somehow opens it up again. She then finds Brandon creeping behind her curtains, but when her mom busts in, Brandon vanishes instantly. Back at the woods, Brandon is found by his mom outside of the tent, and he's like,
what do you mean act on your urges? I'm still not over that, bro. Was he trying to tell him to beat his shit? Like, I don't get it.
yo, chill out. I was just draining the weasel. The next day, Tori talks to her sister about how she's worried about Brandon.
He's so different.
Sister kind of bad.
Yeah,
bro.
that makes sense. If you didn't find him in a crater from space. Be prepared, this mom's gonna piss you off as we get further into this movie. That night, while Kyle's...
You got a son? You said okay. You said if I found out my son was being shit to organs, he going, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That's kind of crazy. That nigga's not my son. So that's what I'm saying, bro. I thought he was talking about his son. But look, personally, bro, that's not my son. Especially if he was an alien, bro. Cooked.
in the barn, he hears the chickens going crazy, and thinking it's a wolf,
I'm not gonna lie. If he was an alien, I'm taking that rifle and I'm taking him out that night. Crazy as fuck.
loads up and heads outside. But instead, he finds Brandon being a weirdo and just creeping. Later that night, Kyle wakes up and finds all the chickens dead. He wakes Tori up and tells her about it, and she's like, yeah, okay, big deal. The wolf is back. Yes, Tori. The wolf tore the door down and tore up all the chickens just for funsies. Kyle is adamant it was Brandon. He tells Tori that a wolf can't physically rip a door off and break a lock. And I'm serious when I say this. Tori says sarcastically, but our 12-year-old son can.
But our 12-year-old son can.
Well, Tori, your son is an alien, so yeah, it's possible. The next
It's
day
like-
at school, Brandon
Is she forgetting that this nigga's from outer space?
and his classmates do this dumb
This must be a reality where they don't have Superman. Clearly.
circle trust fall thing, and when it's Brandon's turn, Caitlin lets him fall to the ground. She's told to help him up, but when she reaches for Brandon, he grabs her hand and breaks it. Caitlin's mom Erica is absolutely furious and wants Brandon booked and sent to jail, but all he gets is suspended from school for a little while. Pretty light punishment considering he turned a
Only way he can stay is if he agreed to go on a training arc and be D1. I'm not gonna lie, he would be tough, bro.
girl's hand into mashed potatoes, and also no one is questioning how a 12-year-old skinny kid could do that to someone's hand. Like, what the f? They're not going to question how a kid could even do that. Later that night, Tori finally confesses to Kyle that when Brandon was sleepwalking, he was actually in the barn. Kyle finally addresses the fact that Brandon is an alien and has never bled once or even been as much as bruised.
He's never bled. Not once in his whole life.
Later that night, Tori does some research on meteors, and Brandon gets drawn outside by the voices again. He gets to the hatch, breaks in, and starts tweaking. Tori sees the glowing red light from the barn and comes to find Brandon floating over the door. He falls into the hatch and actually cuts himself on the spaceship he came to Earth in. This is the only thing that's ever made him bleed. Let's take note of that. The finding of the ship prompts Tori to tell Brandon where he came from, but this just pisses him off and he storms off and starts wrecking the whole house. He heads outside and deciphers the words that the voices have been telling him.
Take the world.
And this is where shit starts getting crazy. He pays Caitlin a visit and is again on some weird shit.
Very special.
Caitlin tells Brandon that her mom told her not to talk to him, and Brandon says, "Don't worry, I'm gonna take care of that." We cut to the diner.
Oh,
1 second the
hell
windows
nah.
are clean, and the next second they're covered in Brandon's BB symbols. The lights then start to flicker, and while Erica's looking up at it, the light shatters and a piece of glass gets stuck in her eye. She then pulls the glass out of her eye, and it's absolutely fucking horrible to watch, so it's being replaced by these LeBron highlights. Prime LeBron
Yeah.
is absolutely vicious. Anyways, she runs and hides in the freezer, but Brandon lasers the door open and takes her out. The next
Damn.
morning, Brandon comes downstairs and is like, "You know how I freaked out yesterday when I found out I'm an alien? Don't worry, it's like totally chill." Seems a little suspicious, but alright. Back at the diner, the sheriff looks around and finds Brandon's BB symbol on the glass. I'm sure that'll be used for later. Alongside
I want to know how the fuck he figured this out.
looks around and finds Brandon's
What made you think, oh, let me put my hot ass breath on this glass? And why is it on the inside and not the outside?
BB symbol on the glass. I'm sure that'll be used for later. Alongside Brandon's suspension, he also has to see a counselor, and lo and behold, it's his aunt. She asks Brandon
my
if he
God.
feels bad about hurting Caitlin, but he couldn't care less. He also starts talking about being superior.
I just know I'm something else, something superior.
I feel like we've seen this before.
I'm an apex predator.
Damn. Speaking of this movie, we gotta watch the video he made on this movie too, cause this Chronicle is actually one of my favorite movies of all time. But I hate this part of the movie where this dude ruined the movie, bro. Obviously, yes, there has to be an antagonist, there has to be a protagonist, there has to be character development and all type of shit to bring the movie together, okay? It makes sense. But it's just like, the movie used to be so good, you know? It was so good when niggas were just flying around and niggas were just having fun. Niggas were just woo, 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 moving cars and shit. When we had Michael B. Jordan being tough as hell, playing football and shit, or whatever he was doing, just being cool as hell and nonchalant. It was just a good movie. Then this nigga starts talking about being an apex predator. What? Why do you have to be a predator in the first place, bro?
I feel like we've seen this before.
I'm an apex predator.
Also, I didn't realize it till now, but Aunt Marilee's kind of bad. She
That's
tells
what I'm
Brandon that
saying.
she has to update the sheriff and his parents on his behavior, and it's not looking too good. So later that night, Brandon pays Marilee a visit and tells her she shouldn't say anything about his behavior. But Marilee is like, "I have to. Plus, you coming here late at night and basically threatening me is not helping your case." She then tells him to leave and shuts the door. She texts Noah to let him know she's going to bed, but she never notices Brandon being a peeping Tom in her closet. Noah, who was at the bar while this happened, heads home, and while brushing his teeth, he doesn't notice Brandon lurking in the corner like a weirdo until he flies to the closet. He finds Brandon in the closet and is like, "Yo, what are you doing in my closet wearing this creepy mask?"
What the f are you doing in my closet wearing this creepy mask?
He brings Brandon to his truck to take him home, but Brandon slaps the mask on and sends Noah flying into the garage before dipping out. Noah freaks out, hops in his truck, and flees the scene to go who knows where while leaving his wife behind, who, by the way, somehow didn't hear any of this commotion apparently. While driving, Brandon smacks the car, which causes it to break down, and the headlights go off. And when they turn on, we see Brandon just standing there like a menace. They turn off, and again Noah tries to get the truck started, which doesn't work, and when the headlights turn on again, we see Brandon again. But this time he's floating.
Nope. No. No. Nope.
I'd probably have the same reaction, I'm not gonna lie. Brandon then begins to lift the truck up from the back slowly before dropping it back onto the road. Noah's jaw eats the steering wheel, and he slowly bleeds out while Brandon just stares at him. And obviously I feel bad for Broski, but he could have just went back inside earlier. He did not have to dip out in his truck in the middle of the woods. And he left his wife behind, which is kind of dirty. Brandon comes back home to his worried parents, and his explanation of where he was doesn't really help his case.
And why the fuck is he shirtless? Can we talk about that?
Playing soccer.
You've been playing soccer this whole time?
Sure. Later that night, Kyle has a dream. He finds himself in the woods with his wife holding the baby alien. We get an evil baby jump scare, and it's not even scary, but when I watched this for the first time, I nearly shit myself. Just thought I'd mention that. Anyways, they get a call from Mary Lee and head over to the hospital where Mary Lee tells them about what happened to Noah. She mentions that Brandon was at her house before the incident happened, and so the next morning they decide to confront him. Tori tells him what happened to Noah, and Bro couldn't care less.
I feel like you want me to cry or something.
Brandon
What the
says he
hell?
has nothing to do with Noah's death, and Kyle finally grows a pair and calls him a liar. Brandon tries to up and leave, but gets grabbed by his dad, and in return, Brandon sends him through a wall. Later on, while Brandon is showering, Kyle raids his room and finds a hidden, bloody t-shirt. Blatant evidence against Brandon. Surely Tori will realize her son's a monster after being shown this.
That could be anything. How could Brandon have killed Noah?
Bro, what the f*** are you on?
I don't even give a fuck, bro. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm bro and I know I'm the breadwinner and all this bitch does is sit at home and watch soap operas and protect her alien son, I'm going the fuck to the nearest hotel or I'm moving 3 states over. I don't care. You're insane, bro. This nigga just threw me through a whole closet. Hello? His dad. What do you think he's gonna do to you?
He's an alien. He's never been hurt except for when he cut himself on the spaceship. He's like 50 pounds and just launched your 200+ pound husband into a wall with ease.
Crazy.
She somehow turns this on Kyle and blames him for letting Noah drive home from the bar. This chick is delusional. We cut to the sheriff, who notices that the BB symbol that was on the diner window was also at Noah's crime scene. Back at the Briars, Kyle starts reminiscing about when Brandon was just an innocent kid. So later that night, he tells Tori that he's going to take Brandon out to the woods for some nice bro time to ease the tension of what's been going on. The boys pack up and leave, and while they're gone, Tori is visited by the sheriff, who asks about Brandon. As we know, this chick is delusional and her sweet boy can do absolutely no wrong, so she tells the sheriff to kick dirt and go away. But before going, he shows her a picture of the BB signature. So when he leaves, she runs upstairs and goes through Brandon's stuff.
And this nigga, he's so smart that he goes by killing people in GTA and leaving his signature like on some real life superhuman serial killer shit. Why would you do that? Like, why would he do that?
She finds all of his freaky, evil drawings in his BB symbols. But talking about Brandon, let's check up on him and Kyle. Brandon kneels down to look at some tracks, and while he does that, Kyle lines it up and blasts him in the back of the head. It does nothing. Do you not remember saying that Broski has never been cut or bruised in his entire life? Well, worth a try, I guess. Brandon flies off, and so Kyle books it out of there while Brandon chases him after getting suited up. He knocks his pops to the floor, grabs him, and as he begs for mercy, Brandon gives him the Homelander treatment. Tori calls Kyle, but Brandon answers the phone and gives her the bad news, and we get this pretty dope shot of him flying over the house. He then starts absolutely destroying the place. Tori takes cover and calls the police while Brandon blitzes through the walls. The sheriff arrives at the house and it's a 2-man mission. They, for some reason, decide not to call any backup. Tori runs to the door when she sees the sheriff, but the sheriff gets absolutely obliterated by Brandon. She then runs upstairs while the deputy stays to handle business, and I've got a good feeling about her. She looks like she can get the job done. Never mind. Brandon comes in to look for his mom, but she managed to get out from under the bed and is hanging out the window. When the coast is clear, she falls to the ground and accidentally cuts her hand while doing so. This
And then she's
reminds
like,
her of the barn and how Brandon can be hurt by his alien spaceship.
Literally.
She books it to the barn with Brandon hot on her tail, but she actually somehow manages to get all the way to the barn and get to the hatch safely without Brandon getting to her, even though they've shown him having super speed, but
Literally,
whatever.
the
In
nigga
hatch,
could blitz
she finds
everything.
Erica chilling, along with the BB symbols all around. She grabs a sharp piece of the spacecraft and slaps it in her back pocket. She then gets out and starts calling for Brandon, and when he arrives, she talks him down.
Why the fuck did he do this?
She finds Erica
What did he do this for? Yo, this nigga's insane.
chilling, along with the BB symbols all around. She grabs a sharp piece of the spacecraft and slaps it in her back pocket. She then gets out and starts calling for Brandon, and when he arrives, she talks him down and is able to get him to chill out for a little bit. She tells him she loves him and still thinks he can be good.
Oh,
Brandon
man.
agrees and tells her he wants to do good. But that switches up pretty quickly when while they're hugging, Tori tries to stab him in the back and fails. He flies her through the barn and up into the sky, and in a slow motion shot, he drops her, and she falls slowly to the ground. I wonder if she still thinks he's an innocent kid who can do no wrong. While up in the sky, Brandon sees a plane, and in the next shot, we see that he homelandered that bad boy too. The end of the film shows Brandon's highlight reel of destroying things and leaving his symbol behind. So, Earth is probably cooked. But yeah, that's Brightburn. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below.
Yep, and that's the end of the fucking movie.
And also let me know what videos you guys want to see next. But that's all I've got for you guys today. So,
And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even realize that I thought she was about to kill him right there, and that was gonna be the end of the movie. You know, you would have thought, bro. You would have thought. I don't know what she could have done better. Like maybe she could have just like, you know what I'm saying, like held this shit and then wrapped her arms around him and then like, you know what I'm saying, the back of the neck type shit, type shit. You feel me? I don't know, but damn. Like, after he killed his mom, bro, it was nobody that could stop him. The nigga just went through and clapped everybody up. It's honestly over for the entire world. And that's how they end the movie, bro. It's never gonna be a Brightburn 2. Nobody can kill him. So he's just gonna clap everybody up endlessly. And that's it, bro. Crazy way to end it, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. You know, you would have thought this was going to be like Superman or some shit. Like, this was going to be fire. And honestly, if you think about it, this movie probably got a worse rating from critics because there was no clear ending and they chose this route. But what I will say is, bro, this might be one of the most like generational movies like of all time, because it's only gonna be one Brightburn. It's literally like Superman but a horror movie. It's like Homelander as a kid, and he's the only Homelander, the only supervillain. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, this shit definitely does live in the back of my head rent free. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below though. I really don't have any words, bro. I've said enough. If you like the video, man. If you like the video, subscribe. At issues.team _ on Instagram. Issues_the.com. And we wish y'all some fire pieces. And I'm out, bruh. I'm out. Whoever was cooking this up had to be mentally unstable, but they really did cook up a good ass movie.